The Switch 2 is finally here, and I gotta be honest, I haven't been this excited for something with two Switches in it since I got a new ceiling fan. This thing has been a long time coming. I mean, literally years we've been talking about some sort of Switch 2 or Switch Pro or Switch Revision or something. I can literally remember back in 2017, there was some sort of leak around the middle of the year where they were talking about a Lite Switch and a new, better Switch, and that Switch Lite thing came true a year later, and then the Pro just never happened. But here we are, all these years later, and it's finally here. I have it in my hands. I've had it in my hands for a week. So just how does it live up to the hype in that 1 week? Not really a great way to measure how good a console is, but whatever. Now, this isn't going to be a super in-depth review by any means, so if you're looking for that, I'm sorry. This is more of just a casual sharing my thoughts, just kind of see how I feel so far type deal, and some of my thoughts of what I want to see happen during this generation towards the end. So if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, whatever, let's get into it. Now, as soon as I took this thing out of the box, I mean, just holding it, it felt noticeably more quality. I'm not entirely sure how to describe it, because holding this thing with, say, another pair of Joy-Cons, I mean, it feels pretty similar for the most part, but there is just this air of something nice to it. Part of that may be the bigger size, and let me tell you, this thing is quite big compared to the original Switch, but it feels good. It is clearly really well made, and I think part of what makes this thing feel so well built is the fact that it has a bigger screen. Now, it's not an OLED like the newer Switch model has, but this thing is still really nice, and the HDR especially, built into games like Mario Kart, just really makes those colors pop. I'd say my only worry with the system as a whole is the kickstand. It doesn't seem to be the strongest. It's holding up really well, but I mean, just shaking it, bending it, you can tell that it might give with enough force, which, you know, isn't exactly encouraging when this console is encouraged to be taken around the place and, you know, be set up on a table or something. The new Joy-Cons feel absolutely wonderful. Now, I'm one of the few people who didn't really hate the original. I know a lot of people gave them some slack for their size, but that was never really an issue for me. I don't know, maybe I got small hands or something, but these still just feel really great. Buttons are bigger, the control sticks are bigger. I'm not entirely sure if they fixed the drifting problem, but, you know, we'll see what happens there. Overall, I mean, it's just like the system itself. These things feel quality, and the magnet feature is especially cool. I mean, the snap-in, just really nice, really satisfying, and you can even turn it into a fidget toy of sorts by just hitting the button and kind of slightly popping them out, but not enough for it to disconnect from the console. I did that a lot while I was playing with this thing in handheld mode. It makes a great fidget toy. The mouse controls are also really nice, though I didn't mess with them too much because there aren't many games that you can mess with them with, but just clicking around on the home screen was a really nice feeling. It was a really seamless transition, which I like. I'm glad there's not any extra menus you have to go through for it. Overall, good stuff there. The Pro controller is also amazing. I really liked the original, as most people did, and this one is just as good. The sticks have this really nice glide to them. They make no sound whatsoever, but even when you're not playing anything, just moving them around, it just feels really, really good. Other than that, though, the buttons are all for the most part the same. The only really notable difference is that they seem to have fixed the D-pad. That was probably the only problem with the original Switch Pro controller, but this one, from what I've seen, does seem to be fixed, and when I played with it earlier, it seemed to be fine. So that's nice. Now, one of this thing's biggest selling points was its game chat feature, which I honestly haven't used at all. Believe it or not, I don't have many friends who are also insane and would spend $500 on a game console on release like me. But for what I have seen, it does work pretty well, which is cool. It takes advantage of a lot of NVIDIA's broadcast features like the auto green screen and the removing background noise from while you're talking. And, you know, those are nice features to have. I feel like this is going to be used a lot by more casual people, and unfortunately, I'm just not really casual. So, I don't know, I'll get around to using it eventually. That being said, it is really nice that you can use any camera you want and not just the camera that Nintendo sells. I plugged in an old webcam that I had sitting around and it worked immediately. Will I ever use this? Probably not. Did it still amuse me for a few minutes? Absolutely. So overall on the console, very positive. I like this thing. It looks great, feels great. Really zero complaints from me other than my fears about the kickstand. But let's move on to the games. You know, these things are kind of important. I've really only played 4 games, if you will. Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk, the Tears of the Kingdom update, and the GameCube games, which, I mean, that kind of counts as one game. There are multiple games in this piece of software. It was 4 pieces of software. Cyberpunk is kind of the Switch 2's Skyrim moment. You know, the Switch 1 had Skyrim running on it, which was a really big deal. Really showed off how graphically capable the system was at that time. And here, Cyberpunk is no different whatsoever. I've been playing the game for the first time. I've never played it beforehand, so I don't really have a frame of reference for how good it's supposed to look. But for a $450 handheld, this is pretty solid. The opening area of the game, in my experience, wasn't the greatest look, but once you actually get out into the city, that's where I'd say it really starts to shine. And I was playing it performance mode too, so this was all at 30 frames per second, which not ideal, but I got used to it, and once I did get used to it, it was fine. But I've really only played this game for about an hour or so I don't have much else to say about it, but I have enjoyed my time with the game so far, and will absolutely continue to play through it to see what happens and just see how the Switch handles things. GameCube on Nintendo Switch Online was a really nice welcome addition. It was definitely a surprise back during the Direct, and I was really excited for this, so much so that I even bought the controller for it. I haven't dabbled too much in the GameCube's library in general outside of a few, classics like Mario Sunshine and Melee, but I'm really looking forward to taking advantage of this just as the years go on and more games get added. That being said, I also haven't played this extensively. All of the games look really nice and I think are upscaled. I could be wrong, but the CRT filter on top of it also just makes these games look incredible, just like they did back in the day, I would assume. I was around back then, but I don't remember much. I've slept a lot since then. Now, despite all of that, I haven't dabbled too much into the 3 games that are already on there. I played F-Zero GX for a little bit and liked it. I played Soul Calibur for a little bit and also enjoyed that, though I really only played that to play as Link. But the one that I'm looking the most forward to playing eventually is Wind Waker, which I've owned on the Wii U for years and just never got around to playing. But here, I'm excited to finally actually get into it, especially with it all upscaled and nice, and I'll have the GameCube controller. It'll be a good time. But I'm looking forward to everything else they're gonna add, and I think the future for this specifically is really bright. The Tears of the Kingdom update, and by extension the Breath of the Wild update, was the one thing that I was really looking forward to when it came to the Switch 2. Well, I suppose not the console release, but just the idea of another Switch in general. Getting better performance out of some of my favorite games ever is really nice, And let me tell you, opening up Tears of the Kingdom and immediately getting a smooth 60 frames per second was really jarring. There was no lag whatsoever. I ran around for about an hour or so and experienced, I think nothing. I can't remember noticing literally anything. Even in the Korok Forest, it was just buttery smooth. Just absolutely wild. Breath of the Wild, even. The faster loading times were also immediately noticeable as well. And let me tell you, just going around the map is super nice. Oh, I dove through the depths too, and I experienced no lag there. That was wild. The HDR for this game is also really good. Being a cel-shaded game, this game is pretty colorful, and the HDR just made it all pop. Like, these games were already really pretty, and that just doubled it, essentially. They've even added a second save slot to the game, so you can start a new file with this re-release, and I'll probably fully revisit this game eventually, but for now, I had fun just kind of screwing around on my old save file for a little bit. They also did add some new stuff that was integrated into the Switch app, but I didn't bother to use that. Apparently, that has some cool lore drops, though. Lastly, and kind of the main event of the Switch 2's release was Mario Kart World, and let me tell you, this game is awesome, but awesome with an asterisk by it, because I've got complaints too. Easily the highlight for me is the Knockout Tour mode, where you start at one course and you kind of make your way all throughout the map, going through other courses to the other side of the map, and there aren't any laps or anything, there's just little checkpoints, and if you get past that checkpoint within a certain amount of places, like the first one's like 1 through 20 or something, then you can keep going, and it just kind of whittles down until there's only 4 people left, and then whoever beats that one is the winner. It's a really fun concept, it's really hectic, especially with 24 people now instead of 12. If you're in the middle of the pack, you are bound to get just absolutely destroyed by one item, and then another item, and then another item. It is just complete chaos, and it's really fun, especially playing online with other people or in streamer lobbies or whatever. Just a good time. The open world itself is a pretty cool concept, but admittedly, I was a little sour on it at first. It's not super full with stuff to do. It does feel kind of empty if you're just looking for stuff to do, but after a while, I kind of started to realize that it wasn't really the main selling point of the game, despite, being in the title, world. It's here more as like a filler thing, just a fun way to relax. It's really good for when you're doing something else, like if you're watching a TV show, or in my case, I was watching baseball while doing some of the little challenges spread out, and it was just really fun. Just a good time waster, a good, filler mode, like I said. But if you're coming into the game looking for a big open world experience, that's not really here. And there are actually some drawbacks because of the open world. For example, how Grand Prix work in this game is completely different to how they work in every other game. In previous Mario Kart games, you do 3 laps around each track, and then you go to the next track and you do 3 laps around that one, and so on and so forth. In Mario Kart World, the first race is a somewhat regular 3-lap race. They aren't all around the same course, some of them do different routes, which is fine for the most part. But you do 3 laps, and then the next race is basically a straight line from that one course to the next course. And so while you're going down that semi-straight line, I say it's a straight line, it's not really straight, there are turns and stuff, but there are little checkpoints as you're going down that line that count as laps, and then the last lap is 1 lap around the course you're heading to, which is nothing at all like the old games. And I don't like that at all. And I was pretty upset at first, but the longer I think about it, the more I'm starting to realize that I think this game just can't really be bundled with the other Mario Karts. It's doing its own thing, and even though I don't like all of it, I do kind of appreciate that. They also took out all the fun battle modes from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I'm just like, why? That was like the best part of Deluxe. They had, the cops and robbers, they had like a capture the flag mode with the sunshines or whatever. Like, that was really cool. I don't really get why you wouldn't take that and implement it into the next game when people clearly liked it, or at least I liked it. I mean, maybe other people didn't like it, I don't know. But overall, I think this game is good, and even though it is a Mario Kart title, it probably shouldn't be compared to the rest of them just because it does things so differently. It's kind of like how, yeah, you can compare every other game to Double Dash, but Double Dash does its main mechanic so differently compared to everything else that it's a little hard to compare them. It's not apples to oranges, it's like apples to, I don't know, a fruit that's like apple adjacent but not really an apple. I don't know, like it's like red delicious apples to Granny Smith apples. That's a dumb comparison. The point is, it's kind of its own thing, and once I started to realize and accept that, the game got significantly better for me. That doesn't stop me from hating how you unlock characters in this game, though. Ugh, it's so annoying. You got all these fun extra characters that are NPCs like Cataquack, but you can only unlock them if someone else uses the Kamek item in one of the courses, and that's literally just a random chance depending on which course you're on and if they even get the item in the first place, and that item is apparently kind of rare, so you may not even see it. It's so dumb. I just want Cataquack. He's my boy. But overall, yeah, I'd give this game, I don't know, like an 8.5 out of 10. It's a good time. I'd say my hopes for the future with the Switch 2 in general is that Nintendo could just stay consistent with big releases like they did earlier in the last gen. This year is already pretty packed with multiple releases I'm looking forward to. Most of those I'm actually looking forward to more than anything I already bought for this thing. Like, sorry Mario Kart, but I'm looking forward to Metroid Prime way more. It's nothing personal. But I mean, this year alone, they've already got Donkey Kong, Metroid, Pokemon, Kirby Air Ride, Hyrule Warriors, more Switch updates. I mean, we literally just had a Splatoon 1 announced as of a few days ago, which is really cool, along with a smaller Splatoon side game, which is awesome to see. And so really, I'm just hoping Nintendo can kind of keep the pace they're going at now. You know, a big release, not every month, but maybe, you know, just something to kind of keep me coming back to my console, because towards the end of the Switch 1 life, I definitely was not really feeling that, which, you know, is fair. It was the end of the Switch's life, but still, I already mentioned it already in that last point, but more Switch 1 upgrades would be really nice. I own a lot of Switch 1 games, and I haven't beaten a lot of Switch 1 games, and it'd be nice if I'd be able to revisit these on this new console with better performance. Like, I bought Xenoblade back in March, and it was a good experience for the most part, but if I could play it in a higher resolution and a higher frame rate, that would be awesome. I'd also love to see the DS and Wii eventually added to NSO. I know both of those would come with their own unique challenges, but I think with gyro controls and even the mouse pointer, yeah, Nintendo could figure something out, I'm sure. And this one's a little more specific, but I would really like to see a new Mario Maker with mouse controls. That would be really nice. Mario Maker 2 was cool, but yeah, it just didn't have the same vibe as editing courses on the gamepad on the Wii U. So I don't know, I think Mario Maker with the mouse controls would just recapture that feeling in a way. Lastly, and I think what I'm kind of the most excited for in the future, is that Nintendo Directs just feel a bit more exciting now, right? I mean, we're on a clean slate. We're looking forward to the next big game in each franchise. New 3D Mario, new 3D Zelda, new Animal Crossing, new Smash Brothers, you know, the list just goes on. And it's just really fun that we can kind of be back to when we're looking forward to all these big new entries in our favorite series. I also just really like talking about news and stuff, so maybe it's just me, I don't know. But overall, I am feeling really happy with this thing so far. I mean, it's only been a week, so obviously my opinions could change, and they probably will, but the future is very bright. I'm excited to keep using this thing. I will definitely continue to play Mario Kart online. Should I stream Mario Kart? Let me know in the comments if you'd watch that. I don't know, it'd be cool. I haven't streamed in ages, but I'm having a lot of fun with that. I will definitely continue to play that for a while. I'm looking forward to Donkey Kong next month, and you know, so on and so forth. I already kind of talked about that, but overall, this thing, really good, really like it. I'm gonna shut up now. Have a good day, and don't forget to brush your teeth. That's important. All right, bye.